Everybody get up, it's time to slam now.
Come on and slam, and welcome to the jam. Come on and slam, if you wanna jam.
People don't feel. He fought tigers in his house made of glass. They say animals don't feel. But have you heard the birds flee from the lit eyes of tall buildings? They say animals don't feel. But monopoly cry for her sawed-off horn, and they say that one day we will go see house sparrows at the zoo. But they say, you know, they say, dreaming with Aurora. Ay, qué bonito es volar a las 2 de la mañana, a las 2 de la mañana. Ay, qué bonito es volar, ay, mamá, la bruja. It was November, in the time of memory and dreams. She wore her long black hair down over her shoulders, and her favorite white gown touched her calves. Her bare feet were dry like the desert dust, craving for a drop of water. Under the chirimoya tree, she sat on a concrete bench while she took in her surroundings that looked like her home, and then continued on her journey. I was reading you about she saw the rabbit on the moon peer through the tall almond tree heavy with flowers. Its leaves glistened and danced feverishly as she passed by. Even though the smell of the eucalyptus trees permeated the backyard, she couldn't smell as much as she tried. Something else called her. A smell more powerful. The smell of the bright orange seams of fruited flowers. It was November, in the time of ay de mi llorona, 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 llévame al río. Tápame con tu rayo, llorona, porque me muero. Spider Woman 1. At age 5, I used to wonder how a tiny spider could make such a beautiful web like the hundreds of Elmer's blue hairs holding suspended as I parted the palms of night. In the second grade, I used to draw an X and a Y axis and I'd exit. I'd connect the lines of a perfect spider web. My amateur web drawings always more bold than the first. Once, I even saw Father take a spider's web and wrap his wounded finger. He must have seen the questions in my peering eyes. Sanará más rápido, he answered. I felt the sweat and terror for having listened to the rumor at school that if you tore a spider's leg, they'd keep moving. They did. I suppose a spider could feel even if it was dead, like a living ghost. I should have known I was Spider Woman when I stuck a small sticker of a black spider on my first driver's license. An officer almost dropped the ID, a closet arachnophobia of his. He took the sticker as a sign and inspected with a flashlight the shiny black vinyl and deep metallic crevices of Dad's old boat. I had proudly baptized La Viuda Negra. 2. year of college, I held a stray brown tarantula on the palm of my hand, took the giant home and placed her in my room. Mother murdered it. I should have known her intentions when her face went sour, when she saw it crawl and Mom had killed the pet snake I brought home too. In my 20s, I mourned Arachne and the no-name girl who was transformed into a carnival spider spectacle for disobeying her parents, both products of the imagination of great spirits. These spider woo men, both give and takes of tradition, as visioners of their arachnid morph bodies, I swore that deep down inside their insides, if their bodies had been written by women, they too would have had red hearts pulsating between their legs. And when my lost brother Gaston tattooed a large spider on his chest, Dad wasn't too happy about that. Brother said, "Look, it moves." As he flexed his arms, his muscles, and performed one-arm breaststroke. With a smirk, I smiled and thought, how silly. But oh, how I secretly envied that tattoo and wished it were mine, spread across my back. Again, my spider spirit rekindled twofold. When my partner's mother and sisters would visit our home, they'd take a broom and sweep the ceiling, bring the house of spiders, cobwebs, and ants, anything creepy crawly. They probably thought my prescription glasses had ceased working. These women didn't know the massacre they had done, naming my eyes like that. 3. Then I became pregnant with a healthy seed in my womb, and a black widow scurried across my hand while I was tending the fern outside my kitchen window. Breathless, I thanked the widow for sparing the life of my daughter. A few years later, I polished my short fingernails with the Midnight Magic number 27, and I became Spider Woman. With thick rimmed glasses and all, I sat in front of a computer, night dreaming about reading ideographs in pyramids and books in Alexander's Royal Library, the Level School of Translators, and London's British Museum. The threading of the past in the present began. I'd hear my mother and father's voices echoing as if they were telling me stories in a dream. I told myself, you mustn't stop. And I tap, tap, tap. Listen to the almost silent tap coming from my room. I am blessed with the craft of a spider who can labor with invisible white threads of those who came before me. Since then, I hold on to the threads and I don't let go. When my fingers type, they glow, as if these clumsy fingers had swallowed the moon's iridescent blue. The weaving, racketeering begins. I should have known. On windy Santa Ana days, my hair extends and curls like a daddy long-legged spider. I hang suspended from a silk thread, and I am connected to everything within foot's reach and see the universe as a magnificent, larger-than-life spider web. I once called myself Poetry Machine, an American production. Now I know I'm Spider Woman. I like it here, where everything is damp and everything begins. Web, the blueprint, stories untold. I am a web reader of sorts, the kind that sees stories in cobwebs and reincarnates in spiderwebs. My 10 fingers tap, tight, and flow with luminous silk threads. Fingers move forward, sight step backward, take in and out the splendor and the mystery of web. My spin cycle begins with a word and ends with a poem.
I'm calling you this late because, frankly, I knew you'd answer. I'm losing the good fight. Could use a guide to greener pastures. I've considered you my kin, but if we're keeping with this candor, I've used you as a lifeline. Now you view me as a cancer. We were baptized in red dirt, Wallen's God's country, Tulsa race riots, locally raised lunch meat. Sardine schools where black gold rules the Sunday funnies. Corrupted scriptures funneled to an underfunded sundry of country bumpkins bumping gospel music, dipping tobacco, and stepped on amphetamines. Remember when I'd pluck you out of Oklahoma history? I'd lie to your substitute, name you a vital revolute in my AP physics capstone, and we'd joke around all hour till we're chiseled at the cheekbone. Wasn't that fun? You know, way back before the drugs and the lying, all the gnashing teeth and sweeping neath the rug. I remember driving to OKC to visit your big sister. Waffle House, Smash Bros. You and I rekindled a thing I never really had and didn't know that I was missing. The difference is I know now. Ignorance is bliss, and oh, Baroque, baby brother. A talent like no other. My best friend. I broke you down, colored you by number. Two erratic faggot addicts don't need acid to get manic. I get mad at understanding in my panic how I hurt you. I never yearned to go against my better virtues. I've since learned to own up to what I sow. And I get entirely why you chose to turn left at my red line. At my best, I'm still an I don't give a fuck playing dress up in a fat kid's clown shoes. I went down kicking and clawing at the necks of my fellows. I'm just last season's martyr who sees himself as something of a majesty, who sometimes still believes there's left some beauty in his agony. Dastardly, I crack-piped any goodwill we had left. I have no right to feel bereft. I have no right to my next relapse, to your pity. Despite my best, it's too late for my amends. There is no way to rescind what I did, and I'm sorry. Truly, I'm so fucking sorry. I love you. I love you. And I needed you to hear that. I don't want to hear it back.
Scream on paper, because my voice once lived in the back of my throat like a locked door with no key. Ink learned how to carry what my body could not. See, I screamed on paper when the doctor said, you may never walk again. When pavement kissed my bones and pain became a language my legs refused to translate. When the world said, walk it off, but I couldn't. So I wrote it off. Line by line, verse by verse, until the page limped with me. See, I scream on paper when nights become a place I didn't feel safe in my own skin. When my mother's husband stole pieces of childhood and tried to bury them under silence. See, my pen learned how to say what shame tried to swallow. Each poem a siren. Each stanza a broken window letting truth breathe. I screamed on paper when my mother's love got lost in the smoke of her addictions. When childhood packed its bags and left me standing there holding responsibilities too heavy for small hands. I was the child learning how to cook survival on a stove of broken promises. I was the daughter tucking my own pain into someone else's so someone else could sleep. And when I lost my mother, I screamed on paper then too. Not just because she died, but because grief is complicated when love and hurt share the same face. I screamed for the mother I had. I screamed for the mother I needed. I screamed for the little girl still waiting somewhere inside of me for arms that never came. And every time the world told me to be quiet, to endure, to pretend that nothing was burning, my poetry caught fire. because paper never flinched when I told the truth. Now, my screams don't sound like weakness, they sound like thunder. They sound like chains hitting the floor, because when I scream on paper, I am not a victim begging for the world to hear me. I'm a survivor. With lungs full of truth, I am a warrior. For every little girl who swallowed her screams, I am breaking generational trauma link by link, line by line, poem by poem, and every time my pen touches paper, I scream until freedom answers.
I am the Nubian goddess, a chocolate elegance driving a Mercedes before being stopped and harassed by two officers down south, simply because I was driving an expensive car. I am a woman who was taught repeatedly by mom to use my charm and allure, especially if there was a male officer involved, as it would give me a small window of hope if I brought to the fore my blessed endowments, allowing his gaze to feast. I am the hush of streetlights on Friday nights. I watch in silence the dangerous sways of souls trapped in mind-altering substances, cans, bottles, and herbs that laced with challenges, even though they were initially sought to ease insecurities of the weary. I am the dark streets which, like bedroom carpets, are without lips, yet I tell ballads of love stories of pain, of pendulums of joys and sorrows, of heartbreaks and frayed emotions. I speak of hospital visits, either of those heading home on nights which seem as desolate as the souls, or the heart tears that flow like torrents. Mercy of mercies, I am the pink magnolias of spring, the daffodils and white lilies, all which unfurl like snowflakes with an unspoken grace, radiating charm and beauty to needy sojourners, steadily traversing the path to serenity amidst love's windstorms and tornadoes. I am the radiant sun on the horizon's crest, offering charm, warmth, wonder, and sustenance to Mother Gaia on behalf of life. I am the moon and stars who know how to glow, to dance in the darkness so that hearts would rejoice. I am the voice of the ghetto, where I learned survival through the harsh brutality and realities of life, one where the corporate hides in dark corridors, making my wounds bleed via inequity and injustice, offering shadows disguised as sunbeams upon my dawns, but darkness on my horizons. I am the I am that I am, gleaming in the child's smile, yet still present within and beyond wars and death. I pray in the heart of the merciful, for I'm the Libram pendulum that represents equipoise, balance, and drawing my own game in and through a birthless and deathless absolute called love.
In plain sight, designs, illustrated, defined skylines built in hidden lies, conspired behind elite swines, stealing wind till wilted flies die, becoming crystallized fossils again. In time, finds will combine, doubling this irony, dotting eyes every time white lines line highways. Driven. I intently determine this universal doctrine, withered and laminated literature is violently mind-bending in certain policed environments, ominously doctoring this written scripture while screaming littered lingo, repenting sins, creating kingdoms and psychological conflict while rousing public perception. Irrevocable actions continue altering this societal view, like Epstein playing Hannibal lecturing with cannibals, while networking this pedophile traffic ring, abusing, raping children, stealing their innocence. Bondi continues covering this racist president's connection, releasing redactions while evidence is disappearing without prosecuting anything. Public is taking sides, slips and slides, while ICE continues taking lives. Leave its continuous commitment talking in riddled lies, perjuries, crimes, while innocents still die daily. This narrative is republicly designed and weaving deception with mixed signals till confusion, biased media split societal views. This American nightmare is finally removing blinders, awakening silent minds, declaring independent declaration in this systematic revolution.
Welcome to America. Oh, that's right. You already live here. But have you ever been made welcome? The dollars you earn from the 80 hours a week you work infuse the bloodstream of our economy. Buy groceries just like me to feed your family. Buy glasses at LensCrafters so your third grader can see, back to school shoes, athletic team uniforms, and new notebooks in color-coded hues. We are the same. Building lives and communities. Some people build them with hammers and nails. We all build community with the sharing of our hearts and daily travails, however you move. There can be no denying that you are embedded in this fabric. You are ingredients in the soup, a weaver of the collective unconsciousness that we all add to. You are an American. The fruits of your labor are braided into the network around you. You work, you live, you grow, you give. I wish the world did run on Duncan, but the world runs on fear. And I say, screw all of that. Welcome to America. I'm glad you're here. You make my world broader and deeper than the geography I landed in when I burst into this scene. Your presence enriches me, and to those who want to try to accountant the human spirit, the numbers don't matter. The details of the constructs, the frameworks and tax laws, and the fee structures of the gatekeepers waiting to stamp rejected on your need for a safe and prosperous life. They want to drive you back to your beginnings and throw you out back of the truck as cold as ice. What matters is people and the love we extend. There is no shortage of resources, and there is room at the table for each of us to take up space and to hold space so that we all fit in. Let me say it again. This is important. So please listen. If I hold space for you and you hold space for her and she holds space for me, then all of us have the space we need to be in all of the spaces we wish to be. And that is the truth of a free country. So welcome to America. Dig your fingers into this big, beautiful clay ball. If we shape it together, we can make it better. I'm ready to melt into a higher vibration. Are you ready to jump into this pot with me?
I want to write. I want to write like Shockie G. Poems that go past shock value and hit you with gut punch substance. I want to write like Escape Artists. Poems with an accent that free your mind and hold your attention captive. I want to write like Angel Kim. Every line seasoned to the femur bone. Southern soul food for thought. I want to write like Stacey Dyson. Singing. Poetry so fire, no roof is safe. I want to write like Miss Lady. A poem that buckles up its seatbelt before driving Miss Daisy into a concrete divider. I want to write like someone who grew up in Queens but gets respect from Brooklyn. I want to write like Erica Floyd, like a black mom, like a mourner of miscarriages, like a veteran, like a domestic violence survivor. I want to write like so many poets. Poets who go to school. Poets who can make a small house feel like a homeless person's first home. Poets who can scribe a sunrise into a mighty clouds of joyless day. Poets who pen intellectual compositions consisting of blunt perspectives. Poets who get free therapy at a poetry slam jam session or healing open mic. Poets who scream poetic poison and whisper antidote. Poets who get naked fully while I search for the courage to disrobe. while I am among the pigs and imposters, a prodigal beset with syndrome, a poet consenting to my own degradation. I want to write like every poet except the poet God instructed me to be. I am a disobedient poet, turning away from my God given pen and coveting the ink of others. I blaspheme every time I insinuate inferiority. Gravity isn't the thing that holds me down. Self deprecation is. Attacking the dignity of my spine, an invisible scoliosis. It's time to shift the atmosphere, change orbit, step into a new headspace, look at my reflection, praise dancing in the eyes of those who view me as the amazing poet I failed to see. But when I remove the scales from my third eye, behold, no one can write like me because no one can be me. I am the only me in this room. No, the only me on earth. No, the only me in the universe. And the poetry that the creator wants me to do, no one can do it the way I do it. So let it be decreed. I must, I will write like me.
See the text that said, I got a craving to eat your pussy at 1:33 a.m. No hello, no respect, just hunger slurring my name like something poured instead of someone bleeding. But I am not a craving that shows up when your judgment clocks out, not a body you borrowed because the bar is closed and your self-control didn't make it home. 1:33 a.m. when your courage is cheap and loneliness gets reckless, when you confuse my softness for availability. That text didn't want me. It wanted relief. It wanted a body to mute the noise, a mouth to forget the night by the morning, a woman you could misplace between shots and regret. And that's what hurts. Not the desire, but the dismissal. The way you reach for me only when you're too drunk to see me clearly. The way you want access to my skin, but amnesia about my heart. So I am so tired of being someone's afterthought, someone's you up, someone's secret they swear meant nothing because remembering me would require accountability. Don't text me when your standards collapse. Don't call it chemistry when it's just convenience. Don't pretend it's passion when you wouldn't choose me with a clear head or a steady voice. I want to be wanted, without intoxication, without shame, without the quiet agreement that I'll disappear by sunrise so you don't have to sit with yourself. I am angry because I have depth and you keep trying to meet me in the shallow end. Angry because I offer warmth and you keep mistaking me for a place to dump your emptiness. I am hurt because I wanted more than to be craved and then forgotten. I wanted intention. I wanted to be remembered without having to beg for daylight. So, no, I will not be your drunk decision. I will not be your 1 a.m. courage or your morning excuse. I will not let you reduce me to a taste you do not savor or a memory you refuse to keep. I am a whole woman. I deserve desire that stands up straight. Desire that knows my name at noon and still wants me at night. And if all you can offer is hunger without honor, keep your text. I won't answer. I won't be your drunk decision, your temporary hunger, your 1 a.m. convenience, and you don't want to explain tomorrow. Keep your liquor, keep your forgetting, because I'm done being easy to reach and hard to remember.
Craftsmanship, blueprint of the poem. I am but the voice or melody of the soul, a conduit manifesting the glories of the love eternal. In this cosmic ocean of consciousness, I utilize the human psyche as instruments of a higher light. Some use poetry to express their pain, healing, trauma, therapy, or survival, but I allow the heart to be caressed by an eloquence which permeates the ether, emits an invisible stream of energy to receptive beings. Souls reach out to the healing rays of the invisible, even as butterflies sing songs of freedom, having been metamorphosed from the cocoon. Spring's white magnolias unfurl as the whistling willow calls my name. The beloved has given me a boon to see the moon blanketing the sunset, the twinkling stars dancing in the heavens so that nights would rejoice. Fireflies glow into celestial beauty, awakening the romance that serenade lovers. Poetical eloquence do find their way to the sacred heart. I knew a woman on the verge of suicide who heard the life-stirring bars of a poet once and changed her mind. Such is the sanctity and power of the spoken word. There's a person I know who writes of anorexia, addictions, and traumas, yet their verses are so filled with skill, brilliance, and vulnerability, I sometimes feel like weeping. What is the process of writing? Is there a thing as writer's block? In my journey of 4,000 poems, love does not let me feel this. Life speaks incessantly, and the cool breeze whispers our longings. Forests show their majesty, waves roll like many thunder, even as our skins lament the ferocity of the sun. The earth massages my feet as I walk, grief pouring through a heart, weeping my auntie's departure to the heavenly realm. At nights I lay in a reverie where my beloved enters. She speaks to me in images of love and nature, of cadence, and I rise prepared, pick up my pad and start writing. A line, ode, haiku, a free-verse sonnet. Daybreak sees me offering gratitude to Her Majesty. I rise, do my ablutions, then sit at my shrine. Sometimes words flow there too, and I rise unknowingly from an ecstatic inner caress. Yet I go to the laptop and type before the symphony of words I hold, like Mozart, disappears completely. On my daily commute, at poetry sessions, in nature, the same thing happens. Everywhere are daisies, sunflowers, the smile of Mona Lisa, the compelling allure of benevolence that kisses my soul with its sweetness. Sometimes I see a tapestry of light. My core goes into a weepy joy and the heart sings. Its soul is unique, has its own narrative. But I love being utilized by the supreme puppeteer. She pulls my strings and I dance and sing like nightingales and bluebirds, both days and nights. I speak of the ecosystems, my vista of chats with flora and fauna, play with fawns on the Catskill Mountains, bathe in the light of Gaia's munificence and charm. Tonight, it feels heavy, thick, and dark. There's war and talk of peace mundane, and Mother Gaia's luminance is tainted by suffering, a dearth of harmony in hearts. Love sends the incandescent Orion to instill faith in my journey. I hear invisible strands of music, the songbirds of the eternal, whispering sonatas, while me, a divine soul on the ever-transcendent journey, strives diligently to find my way home.
There are no Black people on the Jetsons. Erasure is a funny and strange phenomenon. Invisibility, too. Millions watched the Jetsons and swear to spacely sprockets they never saw a Black person. If I'm being honest, no Black people on the Jetsons is completely untrue. If I'm being honest and technical, I am not entirely accurate. People, yes, plural. There were no Black people, but there was a Black person. In every episode, hidden in plain view of the public eye, there was Rosie, a fat, Black, queer woman robot. You can be Black, you can be queer, you can be a robot. But if you're fat, people can't see past the fat. Even if you're the only black, queer, woman, robot in the room.
No one wants to write poems about lost children, about the echoes left after the body has disappeared, the trail of crumbs carried away by crows, or the whisper of wind carrying their scent. It is an ugly story, telling tales of tots transformed into goodbyes. But if we do not write it down, too often we forget they were ever here. Tangible. They were children before they were ghosts, and they were ours before they were gone. We joke about monsters in closets and under beds, but the real boogeymen walk in plain sight, picking children like produce, and we look away. What is a village if it does not protect? A community if it does not embrace? If not a cemetery with plots begging to be filled? Who will speak their names if poets censor their pens from sadness, as if they weren't youth before they were eulogy? They say you can't have a homicide without a body, and yet we bury these babies in our memories and leave their cases cold, our tongues frostbitten. I beg you, write their stories until the poems become reunions and resurrections. There is a saying of great men: you either die a hero or live long enough to become a villain. And in his old age, he is a thief, stole my heart in the whispering of words. How do you trap thoughts inside of a pen and watch it bleed so beautifully? This is not a love poem, but you may mistake it as so. No homo, never a eulogy, but thank you to mentors that make memories of emotion. I find myself taking shortcuts to Sundays to sit at the precipice of a prayer while the pastor reads what sounds like scriptures from a black book, cosplaying as a Bible. But these are not instructions before leaving Earth, but stories of how we survived it. Maybe this is how you bootleg freedom. You become it and share the smallest piece of you with the next generation. Remind them we are still black, not still, not stolen. Houston, or rather Vegas, Germany, or Dallas, Oak Cliff to be exact, has always had a problem draped in locks and truth. So, no, this is not a love poem. It is heaven's dictation of how a black man walks and the ground bows at his feet. How nooses become afraid of necks and stop coming for your tongue to become tire swings instead. Black man joy spoken in parables. So, no, this is not a love poem. It is me staring at my reflection, begging for permission to poet.
They own it. We don't. So it's time to lace up these boots and get to walking because these days a full tank of gas feels richer than a savings account. Dashboard reading empty, same way pockets needing honesty. Numbers spinning on gas station signs faster than slot machines in rigged casinos. Where will it land? Hell, nobody knows. Except nobody wins here except oil suits counting profit behind scenes. While we're left with premium dreams on regular budgets. Let me say that slower. We're left with premium dreams on regular budgets. Translation: vision requires high grade fuel, reality running on fumes. People choosing between commute and groceries, between heat and movement, between showing up or staying stuck. Now, ain't that something? Freedom's got miles, got mileage limit now. Freedom's got a mileage limit now. Opportunities running on unleaded, success cost per gallon, not in inflation, but in initiation. Welcome to the survival of economics, where poverty gets taxed for trying. Those who control the fuel control the future. Let that sit heavy. Those who control movement control momentum. Who control access control advancement. Who control energy decide who gets power. History repeats itself. First chains held on ankles, now prices held holds progress. Same trap, new technology, but watch close. Rise gas prices. Watch who stops moving. Raise gas prices. Watch who loses jobs. Raise gas prices and watch who stays trapped in place. Control transportation, control elevation. Hard to chase destiny when destiny costs $60 to fill up or more. Hard to build legacy when survival keeps drafting bills. Hard to breathe when pressure rises from every direction. Rent high, food high, hope high, but patience running low. So now what? Now resilience got to become renewable energy. Now hustle got to become hybrid. And faith got to become solar powered because pressure creates diamonds, but also creates explosions. Wake up, people. I see carpool conversations turning into community, bicycle lanes turning into rebellion, walking turning into protest. Time to lace up these boots and get to walking. No surrender, no strategy, but we need one because movement never belonged to gasoline. Movement always belonged to willpower. Empires fell without fuel. Revolutions marched on empty stomachs. Feet still free. Hearts are still pumping. Voices still working. They can price pumps, but they cannot price determination. They can tax rides, but cannot tax resilience. They can raise the costs, but cannot raise my fear because pressure either breaks pipes or makes steam engines, and I choose pressure as propulsion. Premium dreams still mine, budget still mine, future still mine, even if I gotta walk to get there.
I like men. In fact, I exited my mother's womb with a hankering for that Y chromosome. I also love ginger ale. And my mama told me she drank ginger ale by the gallon when she was pregnant with me. Now, don't think I'm trying to say my mama was a hoe. Far from it. My mother was a God-fearing country girl raised with Jesus in her heart and praise in her mouth. No. What I'm trying to say to you is that while there is a direct correlation between my mother's love of ginger ale and my own Canada Dry obsession, the same cannot be said of my appreciation for men. That came from my dad. I was a daddy's girl inside and out. My father is not a tall man, and yet people call him Big John. And he can walk faster than any human I've ever seen. I think that's why I walk so fast, because deep down I'm still just a little girl trying to catch up to her daddy. My brain knows my father loves me, but he never had time for me when I was little. He was too busy trying to make his mark in this world, and I learned early that I was not enough to hold his attention. So I went looking for a man to fill up my not enough. I went looking for a man to complete me. I went looking for a man to make me happy. But all I found was the broken hearts I threw away, bleeding on the ground. Men I hurt on the altar of my daddy's abandoned love, the victims of my not enough. I destroyed my husband. I broke my daughter's heart. I failed as a mother and a wife. Got fired from my job. I drowned in liquor and numbed myself with pot. Spent half a year's salary gaming. Had to fuck people. A lot. They say you have to kiss a lot of frogs to find a prince. I kissed the whole damn pond and still didn't find that fool because I wasn't ready. I still didn't understand the truth. I had to destroy myself to realize. I don't know that I can ever forgive myself for hurting people that I love, but at least I have finally learned what the universe needed me to know. That I don't need a man to complete me. That lonely is a state of mind and not the place where I reside. That flying solo is freedom. And that I may live by myself, but I am never alone. I am enough. It took me half a decade to hear it and understand what it means. I am enough. I exited my mother's womb loving men, but I don't need one anymore.
Thanks to the Public Broadcasting Service, the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, the Children's Television Workshop, and viewers like you, we, the public, learned the importance of education every time we strapped our bones to the seat to make our day feel complete every time the courage of our questions met the depth of our answers. Every time we looked down on the butterfly in the sky from twice as high, we saw friends to know and ways to grow. But don't just take my word for it. Anyone would say it's the best way to combat ignorance. It's the pathway to scientific discovery. The key to our future is curiosity. We, the public, learned the importance of creativity, that we're all plugged into one world now with so many things to do. But if you like what you see, you can turn off your TV and you can do it too. All we need are a few tools, a little instruction, and a vision in our mind to build a little world of our own, full of happy trees and sneaky bushes, and the occasional old shack. We, the public, learned the importance of friendship, that if you clown around with some goofy friends, it can feel like the silliness never ends, that some folks are the biggest but not so brave of heart, some are shy but so very smart, sometimes two heads are better than one, no matter how different each is from the other. We, the public, learned the importance of empathy, that if we work together, things will turn out great, and that's something everyone can celebrate. Because every day when you're walking down the street, somebody that you meet could have an original point of view, different from you, and that's beautiful too. And we, the public, learned the importance of community in every old house and home that held history in its bones. Whenever we caught the show on the road and saw someone hit the mother lode with grandma's inheritance recently bestowed, $25,000 for the ugliest candelabra you've ever seen. On every sunny day that swept the clouds away, side by side with friendly faces, in familiar places, communal spaces, you could believe that they'd be kind to you if you're kind too. The intentions of the Public Broadcasting Service, the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, the Children's Television Workshop, and viewers like you are for all intents and practical purposes good, but they are misplaced intentions. We, the public, needed those lessons, but not nearly as bad as those who could actually afford the premium alternatives.
I'm going to keep it 100 with you. I hate the idea of basically cutting a wrestling promo trying to convince anyone that I'm the ideal match for them, but may the powers that be grant me this one instance, please. You see, I'm like pineapple on pizza. Cheesy and a bit of an acquired taste, but conceptually bizarre at first, but actually pretty damn fine. I'm the epitome of don't judge a book by its cover, but nobody's daring to crack me open, get to know my pages, and I don't want just anyone to get to break into my spine. Shit. I want your attention to be mine. I want to open your mind to the idea that I'm that perfect meshing of intelligence, insanity, intimacy, and safety. That I'm the ultra rare find, that I am one of the kind, that I am the one of one, that I am the one. Acknowledge me like how my heart acknowledges you as its tribal chief of wholesome mischief. Allow my own actions the opportunity to echo my own authenticity. Allow my abilities the opportunity to prove my dedication. Allow me to be your Swiss Army knife love, sharp, multifaceted, and full of wit. Allow me the opportunity to shapeshift you as you see fit. When it comes to commitment, I'm all gas and no brakes with it. You know what I mean? If you aren't able to see what level of potential we carry, allow me to be your paradigm shift into happiness. When you are alienated in anxiety and in need of a friendly face or voice, baby, allow me to be your grounding mechanism, smoothing out the schisms, shutting out the static in your mind. When you are feeling sad or mad and it's been a while since you've seen your smile, allow me to be the GPS to pinpoint exactly where it can be found and where it can be safe and sound. Allow me to be the drummer in your heart, going to a Dyer's Eve frenzy with double bass pedals bumping and pumping while moving and grooving you in ways you didn't see coming. Allow me to surprise you with a little something. Yeah, watch me create a sweet heartbeat that you can kick it to, boo. My love language is boundless for you, and I'm ready to express that fully and true. When life is pouring on the heat and you're in need of a helping hand, I'll be there in your corner, waiting, aching for the hot tag, wailing to clean house and take whatever hits that come with it. Allow me to be your sword and shield. Allow me to be your tag team partner in life. When the world is treating you dead body cold, may my words warm your soul from the inside as hugs and kisses warm you from the outside. Allow me to be your spiritual snuggie. Life has many doors. Allow me to be the master key that unlocks all the doors that tickle your fancy. The last thing I want to do is waste your time. So allow me to be time well spent.
There are doors that open on their own, but there are other doors that even though they are crumbling, they are locked under invisible triple lock. Their keys are at the bottom of the ocean floor, surrounded by white sharks. Those doors do not attempt to open on whims or with blows. Instead, roll up sleeves, build doors with paint and brushes, nails and a hammer, or with a magic wand, your imagination. And once you will suddenly see, you will enter, turn back, and see from afar the ancient doors have a few borrowed centuries left. With bullseye precision on an open shore, flower killers came to Gaza to find red lilies frolicking as flowers often do, with blind arrogance and repugnance so deep, like Alabama hate. The flower killers zeroed in on 4 budding lilies prancing on the beach. On a summer day, on that Gazan fisherman's sand, as flower killers often do, mechanical and exact, with morbid smiles, they shelled the flowers, Ahed, Zachariah, Ishmael, and Muhammad. Scattered red petals, so bright like Palestine, rise and blow away. Wind, take these petals far away to distant shores, so the world can see how the flower killers chanted and cheered when they heard the red scream of the carved petals falling on a Gazan beach. An American landscape. On a chilly February night, under a star-spangled sky, Trayvon, you stayed warm, fastened like a monk in a Rembrandt painting as you talked to your girlfriend. Your words, sugared with purple, green, yellow, and red, of your youth, took a close path when in the distance, a man's 400-year-old gaze, clouded with the history hanging with strange fruit, said, its eyes on you. As you walk through invisible marked streets, those pair of cutout holes carrying a holstered pistol preyed on someone like you, and you ran and wrestled for freedom in this American landscape, looking for a place to take root and extend your long, lean branches, reaching for a limitless sky. But one bullet gnawed your heart and turned your fingernails blue. Those cutout holes could never hear you stop following me, nor could they ever see stop following me. Nor could they ever see the prime green 17 of your youth against a historical American backdrop where saplings are lost. A little man saw an American TV monster mightier than himself, and the only thing that little man could do was reach for trigger. To learn your pockets were stuffed with dreams of you Trayvon, wearing a pilot's hat, flying through mirthful blue skies. Not pearls, not diamonds, nor gold frames.